They belong to this country. And I want to tell you that the government of Kenya is big enough to accommodate every community and every region and every sector of our republic. The government of Kenya is big enough. But it is not big enough for those who have greed, who think it should just be them. It should just be our corner. It should just be our religion or our community or our sector. You will never get enough. But today I can confirm to you that the government of Kenya is big enough to accommodate every community, every religion, every sector, every county. And as president, I will make sure, by all means possible, by God's grace, to make sure that we unite this nation. We come together, build this nation together. Because that is the essence of patriotism and nationhood. That is how we move the country forward. And looking at you, you represent the best of Kenya, what Kenya can achieve when people come together. You know, many of us here have stories to tell of where they've been, how they have come along, what challenges they've come through, what difficulties they've been through. But today, we are a family. You people are a team. And together, you have won. And that is why we are celebrating here today. So, pongezi. As you have said, I made a policy decision that we are going to support sports as a government because Kenya is a great sporting nation. From ball games to athletics and everything in between. And that is why I made the decision that the sports fund is not going to be used to fund anything else, as was happening in the past. It will just concentrate on sports. And it is the reason why we are doing more for our sportsmen. We are looking at better avenues to resource, to reward, and to build infrastructure for our sportsmen and women. Today, I can proudly announce to you that the last time we built an international stadium in Kenya is 40 years ago, in 1984. Now, we are building a 35 billion shilling stadium right here in Jamhuri. And by the way, it's going to be ready by December. So, mujipange, ndio muwe wa kwanza wa kucheza pale. And it's going to be the largest stadium we have in Kenya. Football only stadium. Yeah? Football only stadium here in Jamhuri. So, 60,000 seater stadium. And it's not just that stadium. We are, as you know, we are building a stadium in Kakamega. We've just completed one in Bungoma. We are building a stadium in Ruringu in Nyeri. We've completed renovations so that we can hand over the stadium in Meru. We have one in Tarakanidhi. We are now completing the stadium in Moyale. We are building a stadium in Siaya, which we are about to put a canopy on it. And on and on and on and on. And we are building another 35 sports academies where we are going to have different ball games and sports in those sports academies that come with us a little field and track and other things and associated infrastructure, because we are a sporting nation as Kenya, and therefore we must focus on how we encourage, how we build the talents of the young people of Kenya in sports and in the creative economy in general, to make sure that that talent becomes commercialized, helps and assists young people find opportunities to work, find opportunities for investment, and build a whole of society momentum using sports and other avenues to drive our country, Kenya, forward. So, good people, I am very proud to have a partner in Sakaja, the governor of Nairobi. Thank you very much, Governor. And thank you very much for standing in the gap for these young people. You know, very few people can deploy their resources, you know, to support others, to work with others, to lend a hand for the people who need it, and to work with teams like the way my good brother Sakaja has, especially around where young people are. So I am very proud of this. When he requested me that there is Nairobi United that won the FKF Cup, I told him without a doubt, I'll create time. We must look out. And I want to tell the young people of our nation, the young people of our nation are the greatest resource we have. It is the reason why I have put more resources in making sure that our young people are educated, they are trained. We have increased the budget on education by 120 billion to make sure that there are teachers, there is sufficient resources to make sure that our young men and women in primary school, in secondary school, in our universities get the best education they can get, because that resource of human capital, especially the young people of our nation, is the greatest asset we have as a nation. It is the reason why we are also, you know, working on the curriculum to make sure that those who are good in academics get an opportunity to be their best. Those who are good in sports also get the opportunity to be their best. And those who are good in the creative economy can also be the best that they can be. And we continue to support education, training in all its, you know, spectra, from sports to the creative economy, all the way to academics, because we have talents in all those spaces. It is also the reason why, apart from spending 650 billion shillings every year in the education and training of the young people of Kenya, for the first time, let me say it again, for the first time in the history of Kenya, we have a coherent plan and program of how to create opportunities for work for the young people of our nation. I say this without fear of any contradiction, because there has never been a clear plan on how we are creating jobs, a plan that is intentional, that is deliberate on how we create job opportunities. When I rolled out the program on housing, many people were asking me, what the hell about houses? What is this about houses? Who doesn't have a house? We had all manner of debates around housing. Let me tell you, it wasn't so much about the jobs. It wasn't so much about the houses. It was so much about the jobs. Today, I can tell the nation that because of the housing program, for which I have paid a very high political price, there are 320,000 people, young people, working, engineers, quantity surveyors, architects, plumbers, electricians, masons, carpenters, name them, working in our housing program. And not just housing, in the markets we are building, in the hostels we are building. And I am very proud that today there are people who earn money, who have a wage to look after their families. They have food on the table, and they are making progress. It is deliberate, it is intentional. I can also tell you today, because we have rolled out our digital jobs program across Kenya. I was in Ruiru the other day at the Tattoo City, where CCI has given opportunities to 5,000 people, young people in one building to earn money, to have a job. And they are on and on and on. Just last month, Teleperformance, the largest BPO company in the world, has just opened up an office in Nairobi. And it is because of our intentional and deliberate plan to create jobs for young people in the country, because we cannot spend 650 billion every year to educate our young people and train them if we don't have a commensurate plan on what they do when they get out of school. I can now tell you that we have close to 180,000 young people working on the digital jobs platform. And that platform is growing. We are now expanding it to every ward, in every constituency, in every county in the Republic of Kenya, because we can create more jobs. We can create more commerce. We can do more enterprise and more business using our digital jobs platform. And we are doing it intentionally. We were supplying internet, or fiber optic for that matter, using cables before. It took long, more expensive, but we have now developed a different way of deploying fiber optic around Kenya, using the transmission lines of Kenya Power. We are doing more, we are doing better, we are doing faster, and it is my intention that every ward in Kenya will have an ICT hub where between 300 and 500 young people can monetize their talents, can earn money, can do business, can have a job working for companies in Kenya, companies outside Kenya, because we need the young people of Kenya engaged. I can also tell you today proudly that we have streamlined our export of labor strategy. We have streamlined the program of Kenyans being able to work outside Kenya. And it's not just working outside Kenya. Ask any global company. They will tell you the best human capital, the best global workforce is the Kenyan workforce. That is why you find Kenyans everywhere. In every capital in our continent, in every major city globally, you have Kenyans, because we have the best human capital. Less supervision, very hardworking, good English, very disciplined. That is what defines our nation. And I can tell you today that we have streamlined the space around National Employment Authority. We have removed the crooked people who are taking money away from young people and taking them to do odd jobs. We have removed all the bad behavior in that space. We have signed bilateral labor agreements to guarantee that every Kenyan who goes to work outside Kenya is safe and does the job for which they applied. And as a result, for the last 2 years, and those who are asking, they want to know the names, they can go to National Employment Authority. For the last 2 years, we have placed 400,000 Kenyans in different parts of the world to work, earn money, and repatriate that money to come back home. And my intention is to make sure that 1 million Kenyans in the next 2 to 3 years will be working outside Kenya. Because we are a global workforce. We have the talent, we have the knowledge, we have the expertise that we can deploy to grow our nation. And the good news, do you know how much money Kenyans working outside Kenya send home to Kenya every year? Now it's going to be, by this year, $5 billion. $5 billion. That is the wealth of our nation. That is the talent. That is the effort. That is the expertise of our Kenyan people. And therefore, it breaks my heart when people who have no plan for the young people of our nation take them to the streets, abuse them in the streets, misuse them in the streets, and we end up with mayhem, rape, destruction of property, destruction of businesses, because there are people who have no plan for the young people of our nation. They have no known or credible plan. They sing about the young people of Kenya. They talk about Gen Zs because they want to use them politically. I want to tell those people who have no plan, shame on them. They should be ashamed of themselves that they have taken advantage of our young people, taken them to the street, and misuse them. And today, our nation has a blot, you know. Biashara zimechomeka, watu wameharibiwa mali, tumepoteza maisha ya vijana wetu, tuko na majeraha, na mambo haya mengine yote. Why? Because there are people who have no plan. They cannot tell the young people what they should be doing. I want to tell the young people of my nation, I want to tell the young people of Kenya, there are opportunities for work. There are opportunities for business. There are opportunities for you to make a difference in your life. Don't accept to be taken to advantage of by leaders, people who have no plan for your lives. And I say that without fear of any contradiction. I want to challenge those who today say they support the street protests. What is your plan? What is your plan for these young people? William Ruto, I have one plan, credible, tested, working. I have 320,000 young people working in my housing program. Engineers, architects, plumbers, quantity surveyors, carpenters, masons, working. I have 180,000 young people working in our digital jobs platform in different, both in special economic zones, in ICT hubs, in Jitume centers. I have 400,000 young people placed in different jobs in many parts of the world, and the list is going on. Our housing program is expanding opportunities. We are at 150,000 houses. We will be at 700,000 houses. We are at 320 jobs today. We are going towards 1 million jobs in the next 2-3 years. And so is the space around digital jobs. And so is our export of labor. What is your plan, you people who are taking our young people to the street? Tulizane ukweli? Yes. I want my plan to be tested on employment of young people, on dealing with the issues of young people. I want my plan to be tested against that of my competitors. Yeah? Because they don't have a plan. If you ask them, they don't have a plan. They will tell you kasongo, oh, sijui nini, nothing. Sijui kama naelewana. Tuko pamoja? And so, I want to say this, and I'm very proud to be in the middle of young people. People who are wamejituma, you know? People who have come from different backgrounds, gone through difficulties, they've gone through challenges, but they've stayed focused. They've stayed on course. And today, we are celebrating Nairobi United. Yeah? Kweli? Yes. Not because you had it easy. Not because you came from a better background. Not because you have more education than others. But because you have committed yourselves to a course. You have stayed on the course. You have withstood different challenges. You've gone through difficult times, but you didn't give up. You were always there, pressing on. Today, we are celebrating Nairobi United. Your success. Look at what you have achieved. You know, you have defeated Tusker. You have defeated KCB. Do you know how big KCB is? They made 17 billion Kenya shillings this year. How much money did your team? You know? So it's not about the money. Yeah? If it was about the money, you wouldn't be here. Right? So you've defeated KCB. You've defeated Kogalo. You know, Gor Mahia. You know, the legend of football in Kenya. Your team, since 2018, just the other day, right? But you're here. Why? Because mumejituma, you are determined, you have refused to give up, you are on it, you're focused, and that is why you have succeeded. That is the spirit. That is the spirit. That is the spirit of what makes winners and what makes success. That is the spirit. So I am very proud to be associated with this team. Congratulations, my very best wishes. And I just want to confirm to you that we will continue to expand the space around infrastructure, you know. The other day, I saw some of the criminals. They tried to go and break into Talanta. They tried to break into some of our stadia. I mean, surely, what has a stadia got to do with a demonstration? Surely, how is a demonstration ending up in rape, destruction of property, destruction of business? What is that? What kind of a protest? When the law says whoever wants to protest, whoever wants to demonstrate must be peaceful and must be unarmed. That is the standard for any demonstration. But surely we need to ask ourselves as the people of Kenya, how is it that a demonstration or protest ends up in death, in rape, in destruction of property, in destruction of business? And is that really what we want to do as a nation? I dare say no. That's not what it is. And that's why I have said we must all respect the law, irrespective of who we are, irrespective of what we believe in. We have a nation to keep. And for now, I am the custodian of that constitution, and I will make sure that I will defend the constitution of the Republic of Kenya. Tuko pamoja, my friends? Yes. Until somebody else takes over, I am here and I will make sure that hii mchezo tunawachana naye. So, the bus. The bus. You know, I have experience in buying buses because I have bought so many buses. Sasa mimi naona hii ya Sakaja hii sijaelewa hii ni gani. Sasa nitachukua lessons kidogo nijue hii ni gani. So lakini the bus you will get.